how many cars have you sold to pay your taxes?
It's every year, man. I don't know. It's usually like a 6 to 20 to sell to pay taxes. To me, how bad it is. Last year was definitely the worst by a lot. It was because of a big mistake that I made over a Bugatti Veyron.
And
What
how big was that
happened?
mistake?
I structured it as a lease. It was a $14,570 car payment. And in order to make the deal happen, I traded in my Lamborghini Countach. I had that car for 4 years. And I bought that along with the Diablo. It was the best car deal I ever made. I paid $250,000 for both cars. Diablo VT Roadster and Countach is about what this guy paid for it about 10 years ago. And he just wanted to get rid of it quickly. Coincidentally, I think to pay taxes. So I wrote that check. I sold the VT Roadster for $300 after spending some money fixing it. And I had a free Countach. So when I sold it, it was a zero. I sold it for $500,000 or whatever. And with the lease, I couldn't just roll it in. The down payment has to go year to year to year to year. So I had to pay the full gain on the Countach and then only write off 1 year of it because I structured the Veyron as a lease. And then my accountant said, "Oh, hey, you owe $500,000 in taxes this year," along with other things. So that was 2020, March 15th, 2025 when he said that, and
So you know what's interesting? I believe for long-term capital gains, I believe cars count as collectibles, right? And there's a slight tax variation that you pay a little bit more being a car when you make money on it.
Because I had it over for years, so it was like long-term capital gains, I think. So I was okay there, but it was just that I had zero money because I traded it all in and then had to pay the gains on it. Even though now it's nice because I sold the Countach, or sold the Veyron, and then got the 300 SL going, but I did a collateral swap, so it's the same lease. So now I get that $100,000 every year now for the next 4 years.
How much did you buy the Bugatti for?
The Bugatti was like a 135, something like that, $1,350,000. Because I thought I needed to be like, keep it up with the Joneses, because everybody's on YouTube, like next leveling. What can I do next to make myself, flail my arms? Look at me, I'm buying a Bugatti, because that's what everybody was doing. And I thought I needed to chase that to continue to get the views, to continue to get the growth. And the Bugatti was just, it was just dumb. It alienated my audience so much.
Really?
That was used to me buying hoopties, used to me buying junk, and aspiring to make them nice again. Something that was cool 20 years ago that is now down on its luck, and I try and bring it back, and sometimes succeed, sometimes fail. The Bugatti Veyron it was never not cool. It was never down on its luck. So the
Bugatti was like a reliable car for you?
Well, no, but it's not something that's like someone per se, okay, you can buy a Lotus Esprit V8 for $30,000, $40,000. But should you? But it's like, yeah, you can buy a Bugatti for $1,350,000. Here's what it's like to own. That's not how I built my brand, my audience, and all that stuff. And I kept going up and up as I became more successful in YouTube, buying these more higher stakes cars. And it was the same return. If I buy a $5,000 car, if I buy $1 million car, they both had the same potential in views. It made no sense from a financial standpoint other than just me wanting to flex. And I didn't need to flex anymore.
So you spent $1.35 million on this Bugatti, right?
Yes. Well, it was trading in the Countach. So there's it's a little bit of horse trading negotiating there. So it's a little complicated. But in my head, it felt like that's what I paid for it.
What'd you get out of it?
So I traded more or less straight across. I got a 599 in there just to help with the down payment, but about $1.5 million because that's the going is what I paid for it. So I traded again.
So you did well.
Yeah, I did fine. I did fine. But
and you made money on the content as well.
I did make money on the content. It's, a lot of the videos got over 1 million views, but it definitely worked. But the problem with it was I'd had it for 10 months. And the guy that was buying it from me, very generous. He traded a lot of Bugattis, and he wanted to inspect it naturally before he purchased it. So it got shipped up to Connecticut. They inspected the car. It was leaking oil. It was leaking coolant. It was leaking transmission fluid. And they want another 8 hours of diagnosis about $3,000 to look at the transmission. Probably need to be resealed. Probably staring down the barrel of a $200,000 repair bill on the car. And he still took it mercifully.
At the same price, did he try to negotiate the price with you?
He knew that I was in bad shape, and either because I was trying to sell the car outright, and I actually called back the dealer that had sold me the car and said, "Hey, I need out of this. Like, I'll take a little hit, and like just what do you want? And he just ghosted me. He didn't want the car. Totally, just didn't even reply to my text. Not even nice enough to say like, hey, probably not. I have too much inventory or some other excuse or whatever. Just ghosted me. So Ed Bolian was nice enough to actually set up this deal because he knew that my ultimate dream car was the 300SL Going. And he also knew that his friend Matt Ivanhoe, the Cultivate Collector, had just gotten one out of a state that didn't run. So it worked out. And the guy loves Veyrons. So I think he has 3 or 4 Veyrons in inventory right now.
So how much does it cost to inspect a Bugatti?
$5,000 for a good one.
How long does it take?
About 8-10 hours, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, well that's like what? Nearly $1,000. That's like $500 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like a specialist? It's not just any mechanic.
They have, it is at the Bugatti dealership, and they do have to peel off a lot of stuff to see. So back wheels have to come off to get all the underbody panels and everything off to really look at the car. And honestly, I didn't know that it was leaking because all those underbody panels just catch all of it. So then when they take it off and take it down, I never saw a drop on my garage floor. It was always running great. And then they take it down, take a picture of that drip pan, and it's like a collage, like an abstract art painting of fluids. And yeah, not good.
What I don't understand is how you didn't end up having the cash to pay your taxes. Because at the same point, you must be making some pretty good money on YouTube. And is literally every single penny just going into cars?
I'm not that bright. This is a problem. So I had a really bad year before that because I got carried away with a home renovation. I bought this old farmhouse in Kansas. And I wanted a few acres to be able to put up a steel building, and it's zoned agricultural. And I wanted to be like, I saw Stradman in his videos in his house and how far overblown. You guys talked about it in depth with his podcast. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be the smart guy and buy the house already. And then it's going to be zoned properly where I can put up a cheap agricultural kind of metal building and just finish it out inside and not spend a whole lot. And then I decided, I'll renovate the house a little bit. And then I ended up basically doubling the square footage, and it snowballed into house property for $800,000 and then wrote checks for $1 million in the home renovations and the building. The building actually about $420,000-$30,000 all in for a 6,000 square foot building, heated, air conditioned, insulated. It's beautiful. But the house, I'd never done a home renovation before, and these people just, I think they all got together for beers afterwards, all the subcontractors, and were just laughing at ripping me off. It was so bad.
You think they saw the YouTube channel, they saw the Bugatti, and they're like, oh, we could just charge whatever because this guy has like 30 cars.
I didn't. So he came out and I said, hey, I'm not wanting to spend more than $300,000. If it's around $300,000, then I'm just not going to do it. It's like, yeah, it should be fine. And it turned into $700,000 and another $200,000 in landscaping and things. It just went insane.
$200,000 on landscaping?
Well, it was the pond and different things and like the concrete driveways and stuff. And yeah, it snowballed, man.
How did you not catch this when you were going in and like quoting this out?
So it got the stuff hit the fan. About July, I was 6 months into it. The house was all torn apart, like most people find out. And then so they were adding on to the house a new wing. And we were actually taking the existing garage and making it into a master bedroom. So it was existing square footage. We just needed a little living room sort of to connect it to where it made sense for the layout. And so that was the new addition. And they were redoing a lot of the roof to make all the pitches and things work. And it wasn't that much, maybe covering 3,000 square feet of roof. But it's a little different because the house is sort of old and it's metal on the sides and vinyl on top. And I got a $100,000 bill for that. The contractor, it was somebody they'd worked with a lot, and it was somebody that I sort of knew, friend of a friend or whatever, and they didn't bid it out, and I didn't know because I wasn't paying attention.
Did you fight it at all? Like, hey, how'd this get to be $100,000?
It turned into a fight, but it was kind of like he wanted to sit me down and show me how much everything cost and like how he only made 10 or 15 grand on it, and was like very offended. And he may have been right, but then a lot of the times when people get really angry and offended, usually then they're just trying to get you to go away. And I was smoked anyway. What am I going to do? Like, the job was done. I didn't get it quoted out beforehand. I thought that was the job of my contractor to do and like let me know. And he just said,
you had a general contractor, not a subcontractor. General contractor is supposed to talk with the subs and get bids to make sure that stuff gets done within the budget.
And I wasn't paying attention, and I hadn't done this before. So he just called the roof guy that he knows and said, hey, we need to fix this roof here. And he did it. And
didn't you tell your general contractor the budget though?
Yeah, that's what we talked about it.
But then what happened with him? Because that sounds like it's kind of his fault. Like, that's his purpose. You could go direct to sub, right? Or you use a general contractor to make sure it gets done properly on the timeline and then also at an effective cost.
The house is all torn apart, and I get the roof bill in, and I'm already at $300,000, and the inside of the house is studs. So what do I do? Like, this guy's started, he's got to finish it. It's a tale as old as time. Like, you guys are smart, and you do real estate and all this stuff, but a lot of people are in these similar situations where this happens to them. And I thought I was smart enough to avoid it and not get screwed. And you think with someone with a little bit of a public persona where you wouldn't do that. And I also think that this guy was a bit older, and I don't think that he realized how much some things were costing now as far as the changes with things. So because it was sort of a friend again that had done some work for, I think, my dad in the past, like a patio thing. So like I knew that he did good work and the quality work was great, but obviously things went way out of control.
Now that you have your dream home, was it worth it?
I am just now getting used to not looking at something and thinking, I got screwed there. I got screwed there. There was one chandelier in the master bedroom where Restoration Hardware accidentally priced it at $600 when it should have been $6,000. And I hit the buy button on it, and I was like, is this thing actually going to show up? And it did. So that's the one great victory of the house in the master bedroom. Every night I can look up at that chandelier and just go, I got him there. And that's about all I got. Otherwise, I just look at all this like, oh my God, this about just ruined me.
So help me understand exactly what's going on then, because you couldn't afford your taxes, so you had to sell a bunch of cars.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still buying cars, which you could argue are assets.
I have to.
So you have to?
Because that's the content. That's Hoovie's Garage. If I run out of things to talk about my existing cars, I buy another car.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
but you have like 30 cars.
Yeah, but you run out of things to do. And once again, YouTube has changed so much to where you can't just do a little bit, like a check engine light comes on and you say, oh, that has a oxygen sensor code, let's go get a pizza. Like there has to be a lot happening in a video to compete with the level of content, the quality that's been raised in the last 5 years of YouTube, where it has to be a pretty significant event when you post. And I'm sort of a twice a week, a weekly video type of thing. So now for me to keep up, there has to be a lot. It can't just be the buy and everything's wrong and then, fixing things and checking in on it. Like, it all sort of has to be roped into where it's 30 minutes of really compelling content now for it to compete with this new generation of stuff.
So do you think then your viewers like seeing you in financial distress?
Yes. Bad is good and good is good. That's the wonderful thing about me is if I get a good car and it all works out fine, the video is not too exciting. I get really excited about the car. This is amazing. What a deal. All that stuff. Great. But then that's one video where I get something really terrible. Like most recently, this Lotus Esprit V8, where the seller didn't mention anything when it was on Bring a Trailer and then sold later at auction where the transmission's crunching and all these issues. I know, like, okay, this car sucks and people are going to love that this car sucks, and me having to go through and suffer through making this thing work again. I know that it's going to be compelling content. So really, I win either way.
But how much of that is purely watching you in misery when something happens and the audience is just like enamored by that?
I think people love to think, wow, I am not as dumb as this guy. Like, okay, at least I'm not that stupid. And I just like playing into that. Like, why would he do it again? Why would he buy this sight unseen at an auction, do it again? Like, again, really, this turd? And then they're like, okay, my problems aren't so bad. I think that there's a bit of that.
Now, when you run your own business, it feels like there's always paperwork just waiting for you in the background. Things like payroll, forms, and onboarding just take your attention away from what's actually being able to grow the business.
There are these moments that we've all had, and I'm getting angry even thinking about it because it happens to me all the time, where you're stuck doing the exact same admin task every single day. Well, guess what? You could say goodbye to all of those moments thanks to our sponsor, Gusto.
Gusto is an online payroll and benefits software built for small businesses. All-in-one, remote-friendly, and easy to use so that you could pay, hire, onboard, and support your team from anywhere.
What really makes it stand out is just how much easier it makes everything from running payroll, setting up direct deposit, and onboarding are all handled in one spot, and it just works.
They handle payroll taxes automatically, and you get unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price. There's no surprise fees, which honestly removes a lot of stress.
And if you ever get hit with an HR question you're unsure about, Graham, well, Gusto gives you access to certified HR experts, which is huge when you want to do things the right way.
It's also quick to switch, and you don't have to pay anything until you actually run your first payroll.
I've actually been a paid user of Gusto long before they even sponsored this channel. Back in 2020, when I first set up my very first S-Corp, I needed to run payroll. Guess where I went? none other than Gusto, and I've been using them ever since, and they've saved me so much time. So try Gusto today at gusto.com/iced and get 3 months for free when you run your first payroll at gusto.com/iced. Once again, 3 months for free.
One more time, that is gusto.com/iced.